So yeah, we have panels here tomorrow, 12 to 6. And then after that, we have the after party at Brick. And if you're from here, you probably already know Brick on Sunday is going to be crazy. And then Monday, we have the yacht party. It leaves at 11 a.m. on the yacht. So make sure that you're there. It's the Hyatt Regency. Check, check, check. Okay, there we go. Now we're in business. Y'all ready for the keynote speaker or what? Come on, man. Y'all ready or what? Okay. So, I got to shout out Steve LaBelle. He's here. He's one of the panelists. This is not something that really usually happens, but my man was nice enough to make it happen. Scott was nice enough to come here and do it. We're going to have him speak on a panel. It's not every day this happens, so I want y'all to make some noise for the multi-platinum legendary producer, Scott Storch. Clap it up for Scott Storch.
Cold DJ! So seductive. I take you to the candy shop. I let you lick the lollipop. Go ahead, girl, don't you stop. Keep going till you hit the spot. Whoa!
I'll take you to the candy shop.
Yeah.
One more taste of what I got.
How you doing, Scott?
I'm good. How you doing? How's
Good.
everybody doing?
Make some noise, man. Scott actually sitting here with us. So, most of you guys know his catalog and everything. Can I get my mic? Yeah. All right. Everybody probably knows the man's catalog, but let's talk about the start, Scott. Let's talk about how you first got into music, the first music you were making. Let's go back to the beginning.
All right. Well, if you go all the way back, I started, I'm self-taught playing piano, and I got into a little band. We were a New Edition cover band when I was a little kid, and I knew at that point I wanted to be in the music business. So I went on to, I quit school at 15 in Philly, where I had just moved to, and I was cutting school, and I joined a band called The Roots. I got an audition with this group to play keys, and I was one of the lucky people. I was able to get a record deal at a young age, and it didn't really translate into being rich or anything, but I was now officially stamped into the music business, and that's where I really got my start ultimately.
What was that like with the Roots? You were young, right? You're a kid. You get a deal. What is it like working with that group?
I mean, it was amazing to be part of something and to learn the experience of not only just being a record producer but being a member of a band. It's like a marriage in itself and like a bond that you have, and it's something special. And as a young kid and learning, it was a great experience to be able to go perform live and just learn everything and absorb it.
Speaking of performing live, is that something that you love to do? I've seen you do it sometimes. Obviously, you're going to do a little something for us on the yacht. Yeah. But how do you like the studio compared to live, since you did a lot with the Roots?
I mean, my heart lives in the studio, but, it's a good experience to get out and try and do a performance in any capacity. It's different for a keyboard player to do a performance by himself, but, I make it work and try and make it as creative as possible, and it's fun. It's good to get out of the lab every now and then.
Yeah. When at what point did this transition happen to more of a solo thing, from the Roots to actually becoming a solo producer?
I guess I kind of just realized my passion was beat making and the studio thing. So I just decided to take a step backwards to take a step forward. And I wanted to be remembered in life as more than the guy who played keyboards for the Roots. So, it grew into making beats, and I would take these trips from Philadelphia into New York with my manager at the time, Derek Jackson, and try and convince people and say, hey, this is the kid who, wrote for the Roots, he did this, blah, blah, blah. And oddly enough, last night I was with my very first client that believed in me and said, okay, I'll give you a shot, I'll work with you. And that was Busta Rhymes. And that was my first placement, was on the Anarchy album, a song called Blood Owl. My first placement as a producer, not as a band member.
So a lot of people know you from a lot of work they may not, know that you produce, right? Because you're working with Dre, these type of things. At what point was it knowing that you're gonna be Scott Storch yourself, the producer? What made you make up your mind?
Well, I mean, I was a beat maker, an aspiring beat maker, and I somewhere along the way was able, through my friend Eve, the rapper Eve, to meet Dre, and I got in with Dre, and we did a lot of huge records together. We made history together, and then there came a time when I realized that all the stuff that Dre had accomplished within Aftermath and Death Row and these huge entities, that I wanted to solidify something independently. So at that point I was living in LA, and I moved to Florida and started working pretty much solo, and one after another all these records started happening for me, and Fat Joe came to me and we created Lean Back, and in the beginning of that record he basically stamped my name for the world to hear in the intro of the song, and that is ultimately when my name started really circulating, and that catapulted the name.
Yeah, and at that point, yeah, clap it up. At that point, right, this is when, you're becoming the hottest producer on the planet, right? That record, all the other records. What was this like, this crazy whirlwind of those couple years where it was just like, where you went from right there to just out of this world?
You know what? I really honestly was, at that time, so happy to just stay in the studio 24 hours a day. And I was turning out the music, and I really wasn't even really looking around. I wasn't really going to clubs. I wasn't really doing anything, but I was just in my zone. Really wasn't even listening to the radio. So it was just business as usual for me. And, I had to do the work of 10 men to create that, you know what I mean? And if you're willing to put that work in, I feel like that's one of the most important things that you can do is work ethic. And, if you're really going for it, you need to really go all the way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. So you are the biggest producer on the planet. Everything is going crazy, right? You're getting famous for other reasons as well. So at some point, there's a downturn, right? You're going up and up and up.
Yep.
And then eventually, obviously, we come back down. What was it like to go from so far up to, obviously, personal reasons and all this kind of stuff, to be, I guess on the other side of that?
It was devastating, but we reap what we sow. Because I had a God-given career and something amazing, something beautiful, and I got exposed to the nightlife and exposed to drugs, and I just went off and I just abandoned everything that I had built, and it took me over a decade to build it, and it took me like a year or two to destroy it. But I was fortunate enough to rebuild it again with the help of my brother Steve LaBelle, and doing some really amazing things. And it just shows you that if you have the ability to make it once, you can make it twice.
Right, absolutely.
Yeah.
So, Steve, obviously we all love Steve, and he kind of, helped usher, you back in. Who were some of the first people you started working with when you really started working again on this second run? You know
what? The second run, I connected with Steve, and I was like, yo, Steve, get me in with Jay-Z, get me in with Beyonce, call these people, tell them I'm ready, blah, 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 blah. And he said, nah, we can make hit records for all those people, but the way we're really going to get our credibility back is to work with new artists and break new artists and show people that you can make hits out of nothing. And he got me in with A Boogie and Trippie Redd and Roddy Ricch and all these people when they were just first starting, and we made hits with all of them, and it's really cool, How do you like these kids? How do you feel about the new music that's coming out? Some of it I love, and some of the music back in the day I loved, and some of it I hated, and it's just, music is I think it just keeps progressing, and there's a level right now of some really hot shit, I think, in the world. Some good dope artists out.
Does that, I know you said you weren't even listening to radio at the time when you were really in the zone. Does the sound of music and artists now affect what you're doing as far as your production? This whole new sound, all these new artists, is that affecting
Of
what kind of
course.
beats
I mean,
you're making?
I work within those boundaries of music of today and love it, but I also have the knowledge and the things that I have, my bag of tricks of people don't know a lot of the stuff, or have understand how to make it that way. So it's an edge for me, because the music's, it's not quite as hard to make technically from a musician standpoint. So it's just a matter of having the good sonics and having good programming and production, the sauce, so to speak, you know what I mean, and what people do.
Yeah. And so you have a ton of credits, and people here might not know how many new songs you've done. Like on your comeback here, you've been killing it. What was the hardest part about that, coming back on this second run? What was the hardest part of coming from nothing to starting again?
I mean, it's always the same. I mean, but I think, unfortunately, the music today it's sold differently. I had to adapt to that. You know what I mean? There's no physical copies like that. It's a streaming world, and I had to identify with that, and just adjust to the sonics and I essentially taught myself again how to make music a little differently. You know what I mean?
And so at this point, right, huge climb. Part of the fall, obviously, was, as you said, drugs, alcohol, these type of things. And now you and Steve have opened a rehab facility. Do you want to talk about that at all?
Sure. Yeah, I have a spot called the Heavenly Center with Steve and my partners, Frank Sid and Nick Morgan. And we have something special where we're healing people, and I'm literally watching lives get saved. And, it's an incredible feeling.
Absolutely. And so now, obviously, making a lot of records, doing this again, where do you see going from here? You've learned a lot, right? Obviously, you've had an amazing career. So where do you see yourself going now, this time, on the way up?
Well, I mean, I'm still working on albums for various artists, but I'm putting a lot of my focus on my own project right now. Essentially, like the way Khaled does it, it's like, we produce records for ourselves, we get features on them, and we put the stuff out, and it's it's another step towards being independent,
Right. And what else? So you have the rehab facility, and obviously working on your own album. Do you have any other? Are you venturing into more business things, or anything else going on?
Yeah, I mean, I have a bunch of stuff going. I'm actually in production on a major motion picture, like a film that I'm doing on my life, where actors are playing me and blah, 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 doing that. And the script is done on it, and it's pretty cool. Have a vape company for a nicotine vape that's doing quite well called Whiff. Bunch of different other ventures.
Right. I guess I kind of wonder, after all this time, who's your favorite artist to get into the studio with?
I mean, Fat Joe is one of my favorites, for life, to work with. I have obviously an incredible chemistry with Dr. Dre and doing production with him. But I love working with everybody that's doing quality music.
Have you came back around and worked with Dre or The Roots or anybody like that from the past again at this point?
Yeah, I've worked with a few. Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask, because there's some producers in here. We just got off the producer panel. I asked them the same question. But as far as being a producer, how do you feel about all these new tools and all this stuff for producers? Are you keeping it simple? There's 10 million different instruments and now samples and all this kind of stuff. How do you feel about all this new stuff going on?
I mean, the meat of my music is always composed, and I could compose it on a keyboard or a piano or, an acoustic piano, whatever it is. But, I think it's amazing how far we can take one riff after it's recorded and process it with, RC20. I don't know if anybody knows about that type of stuff, and just different plugins and the ability to chop it up and so easily. It's amazing. Samples I don't really use that much unless it's like sound effects and like drum stuff or like vocal chops. But yeah, for the most part, I think it's amazing. I wish I had some of the stuff we have access to now. Back then, it would have been crazy.
And on the same type of tip right here, what about, there's all these new, like, people can sell beats and lease beats on sites and all this kind of stuff, and some of the young kids are coming up off that, but some of the young kids might be kind of getting screwed on that. How do you feel about that?
Well, I mean, listen, the most important thing to get somewhere in the music business is to be heard. So I think everybody has a chance now. And, if you're making hot stuff, people will find it or hear about it.
Right. You said that you were in the studio with Busta. Who are some of the other artists you're working with right now, or that you're going to get in the studio with this weekend, probably?
Actually, I was working with an artist named Zoe out here. That was really amazing. I have a bunch of cool stuff on the horizon. I believe I'm going to be in with Trippie Redd the end of this month, quite a few others. I'm doing a song with Chris Brown and Lil Durk right now that is going to be hot. That's going to be for my project.
Yeah, I was going to ask you, you have any joints for your project already done?
Yeah.
Who you got?
I got a bunch of stuff. I got some stuff.
All right.
It's top secret. Top
secret. I'm going to get it from Steve later. I did want to open it up to questions and stuff, but before we do that, I want to talk a little bit about artists, right? There's a lot of artists here. There's a lot of artists that are going to watch this. And as far as working with a producer, I guess what would be your advice for an artist working with a producer or approaching a producer? Or what do you think, artists should do as far as working with producers?
I mean, you need to find somebody that's attainable, that, I think it's important to get a chemistry with somebody. So to grab a, name brand, if you're going to spend some money or whatever, that's cool. But ultimately find somebody within your reach that wants to grow with you, and you guys can, make a cool sound together, and all that sound is cohesive and has a whole vibe to it.
And with you, how much is it about, I know you like, I'll stay in the studio all day. How much of it with you is working with the actual artist physically, or, being in the lab? Like, do you send off beats and stuff, or you want to be in there with them?
It happens all different ways. Some days you might not be in with an artist and you strike gold with something special's there and you're able to present it to the artist. But for the most part, I find that the artists, when they come to me, they want to see the mechanics of it, and they want to, have a relationship with the music like it was born with them in the room. So I think it's more special that way. And sometimes if you're able to embellish on an idea and get it closer to what they want if they're in the room.
So as far as producers, there's some producers in here, producers going to watch it. What would be your advice to young producers coming up?
Work hard. Just stay working and don't get discouraged, and, try and be creative but respectful to people that you want to play it for, and just find your way, man. Market yourself on Instagram, wherever.
When you were, well, even now, I guess, or back then, how many beats were you making? I've heard you had a lot of beats, especially then. How prolific are you with beats? Should people be making beats, 10 beats a day, or like?
10 ideas are cool to make in a day, but I'd say to make, after you do those ideas, those little, stems, then you like perfect 2 or 3 a day, you're doing good. It takes time.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I want to go ahead and open it up to questions at this point. Corey, if you could come grab the mic. You guys want to raise your hand if you have a question for Scott? Over there? Okay. Here you go.
Lean back. How you doing today?
Good, how you doing?
I'm Genesis Omega from St. Louis, and I just want to know, like, doing this for so long, what gave you the drive to just keep going? Because it's like when you're, a producer, I know so many producers who they're gifted, and it's like, you started off, you had opportunities. Is it because you started off so young in the business, or was it more so, you just had that spark, that it factor?
You know what? I had like took a hiatus from the music business for some years off on like drug addiction and this and that. And when I came out of that, I realized again that this is what I was put on earth to do. It's my God-given talent. So, I had to like really, and it's what I love to do. So it wasn't, that's where the inspiration comes from and sometimes, to win, I like winning. So, I'm just trying hard. Yeah.
Can I get this other mic live too? Check. You got a question over here? Or right here? Check. There we go.
How you doing, Scott?
What up?
What up, man? My name's TJ. I go by Still Undefeated. Very nice to meet you.
Pleasure.
I got a question about your rehab. How do we get involved? How do we help give motivation? I'm a recovering addict as well. I've been clean and sober for like 6.5 years.
That's what's up.
Right on,
Bless,
right?
bless.
Thank you. So I appreciate what you're doing, and I appreciate your helping the community. So how do we get involved? How do we donate? How do we give hope? How do we give back to the people that you're
Those
helping?
two gentlemen right there.
Awesome. Right on.
They're
All
right there.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you.
No worries.
Yeah. Oh, that didn't go very far.
Hi, Scott. My name's Daniel Moyal.
Hey, what's up, man?
Shabbat Shalom. So, what advice do you have for a young artist that wants to take everything very seriously and, maintain focus? What advice can you give to them?
I mean, I kind of said it earlier, like even with regards to producers, it's really about consistency and identifying your strengths and your weaknesses, or your strong songs or your weakest songs, and presenting to people in a respectful way, but being consistent and not letting up, and being the squeaky wheel always gets oiled. So but making sure as many eyeballs as possible can learn about it. You know what I mean? That's why I think Instagram is such an incredible thing. It really helped me as well when, returning into the music business. And I mean, like, everybody's got a chance. Even the island boys.
That's a good point, actually. That's a good point. They're celebrities now.
I mean, it is,
They're gonna charge you. They're gonna charge you to collab with them. They're celebrities now. Yeah, you go ahead over here.
How you doing, Scott?
What up? Where am I looking?
My name's Atlas right here.
Oh, okay.
Nice to meet you, brother. First, I want to congratulate you. Say I appreciate everything you do for this industry, just for working hard, man.
Thank you, brother.
I know there's a lot of space between where you start and success. I've been recording my music on BandLab, and I just have a question. Like, what would you recommend that a new producer, who's someone who's not really tech savvy, is there a variation on a laptop that kind of mimics BandLab? Because I would like to produce as well as, write songs and just.
I think right now, Logic and FL would probably make the most sense.
Okay.
Yeah, FL is I think really good for that.
Awesome. All right, bro. I appreciate you.
All good.
All right, next question up here. Yeah, that's cool. And then go up here. My man had his hand up for a while. Go ahead, man. Go ahead.
Okay. Hey, what's up? I'm Skippy Skip from Raleigh, Durham. Okay, first off, it's an honor to meet you, Mr. Storch.
Thank you.
Okay, wanted to know, in addition to being a rapper, I'm also a producer and a multi-instrumentalist. Okay, now, being self-taught, I just wanted to kind of get an idea of what your practice routine is like how much time you spend practicing keyboards, and how you approach it. Like, do you start with scales, or what do you mainly focus on?
Well, I mean, I've been playing the piano for like about 40 years, so I don't really practice the piano, but and that's my instrument that that I use. But I ultimately am just making beats when I sit down and I'm using my keyboard skills, and I'm doing it, at least 4 or 5 days a week. So I guess making beats is my practice. But, I recommend for any musician that's, still, learning or mastering the craft of their instrument, it's good to play for an hour a day at minimum.
Right. Okay. Cool, man.
Another question over here. Let's see. Yeah, you can go up there. All right, go ahead.
Hey, my name is Terrell. My music name is Cam G. Ricks.
What up, man?
I come from Indiana, and my question is, how do young artists like me, reach their art audience? And how do I gather the right team with the right skill sets to achieve the position that I'm trying to get to?
I mean, in terms of the team, I guess I would have to say, you have to kind of like go with your gut, find people that are, good at whatever type of thing you need from them, and people that you can trust, most importantly. And as far as reaching out to people, you just have to communicate with people through DMs and however you can get to people, email people and, get your music out there.
Yeah. And on that note too, I know at one time you were probably at a lot of these events and stuff. How important is it for the producers, the artists, whatever, to come out to the events, to touch people, to meet people, to go to the studio sessions,
super
right?
important. It's super important, it's inspiring for people, and I definitely want to uplift and inspire. So
Absolutely. Okay. Somebody else got a question?
Hey Scott, my name is Doc Z.
Hey, what's up, man?
My question is, as far as marketing and advertising and stuff goes, do you have a team who does all that, or do you have a key? What's the best way to market and advertise? I've been trying Google ads and stuff, but
yeah, I have a team for that type of stuff. It's my management, and I just kind of focus on the music, man.
all right.
Next question here. We'll do just a couple more here. Let's see there.
How you doing,
Let's see,
Mr.
Garrett.
Storch? My name is Big Corn. I'm from Alabama.
What up, man?
Yeah, I thank you. You helped me get my career started. Back in the day, I used to wash cars for this man, and y'all came. It was you, and I think it was DMX. I don't know, but y'all were trying to buy a yellow Camaro. A yellow Lamborghini.
Okay.
And the guy, Old Country, I used to work for, he was Storch, and I used to be rapping. I was a little younger, so you motivated me to do what I had to do
That's
to
what's
get
up,
to this
man.
far. So big shout out to you, man. God bless you.
Love, man. Good to see you again, brother. God bless.
Hi, my name is Shanae, and I'm representing Gas Entertainment. This is my husband. I just wanted to know, do you sell beats, and how much is it for me to purchase a beat off of you?
Also, I defer the question to this guy right there.
Yeah. See, talk to Steve.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Corey, you want to bring the mic over here to Gareth? So. Oh, sorry. Sorry, I didn't see that. Go ahead, Garrett. This is our coast to coast live rep from London. He does all of our shows in Europe and all that kind of stuff. Go ahead, Garrett. That's the question.
Hey, Scott. I just want to say, first of all, thank you very much for doing this panel.
Oh, my pleasure, man.
You've played such a major part of hip hop. So many hits out there. The part that you played in Still DRE. My personal favorite, Make It Rain. Fat Joe, Lil Wayne, one of the greatest hip-hop records around.
That's timeless.
My question to you is, what's your favorite track that you've produced, or your most memorable hip-hop moment, and why?
Man, it's really hard to say. I have a relationship with a lot of these records, but but Lean Back is always going to be one of my favorites.
Dope record.
Out of hundreds of songs. And most recently, in terms of records that I really love, I love the Roddy Ricch, Down Below. I think is a special record I have a connection with.
Okay, great. Thank you very much. Thank you.
All right, let's do one. Go ahead. Last one. We'll do one last one. Don't want to leave you out. Go ahead.
Mr. Storch, good evening, man. My name is Kent Mellows, man, Salem Avenue.
What's going on, Kent?
And I guess I wanted to take a trip back to your adolescence, man. I wanted to ask you about the time when you decided to, I guess, quote unquote, leave your day job and pursue this shit full time. And what that time was like for you, and I guess when you knew that, you know what, I'm gonna put this shit down and I'm gonna pursue this all the way.
I mean, if you're saying becoming a producer from going to a band or going from being a civilian to going into the music business. Okay. I mean, I just, at such a young age, had such an affinity for music. I was like, you know what? I may not make it big, but I could always like play at like weddings and bar mitzvahs and shit and survive. And I'd rather be poor doing music than rich doing something I don't want to do, because music was in my blood. And if there's a will, there's a way. So I took a leap at a young age. I was 15, and I left school. And my folks was like, either you go to school or you get out. And I got out. And I just like literally was couch hopping and doing all kinds of like whatever, just staying in friends' cribs and whatever until I got a job doing construction and in the day, and I was able to make music at night, and I traded the work to have an apartment. It was, it just whatever it took, I did that. Ain't nothing to it.
All right, clap it up. So before we get off, what's up? Before we get off stage, Seizure, you got a couple records we could play? I know most of you guys know his records, but let's play a couple of records that Scott's done.
Yeah, nigga. Coast to coast DJ. Still waters run deep. Still Snoop Dogg and D.R.E. 9-9, nigga. Guess who's back? Still doing that shit, Andre? Oh, for sure. Yeah. Check me out. It's still Dre Day, nigga. AK, nigga. Oh, I've grown a lot, can't keep it home a lot.
What else we got?
Spots that I'm known to rock. You hear the bass from the truck when I'm on the block. Ladies, they pay homage, but haters say Dre fell off. How, nigga, my last album was The Chronic. They wanna know if he still got it. They say raps change. They wanna know how I feel about it.
You're in the mix with DJ Seizure.
Yeah! My niggas, throw your hands in the air right now, man. Feel this shit right here. Scott Storch, nigga. Yeah, Khaled, I see you, nigga. Showbiz, born law. Yeah.
What else you got, Seizure? What else?
I don't give a fuck about your faults or mishaps, nigga. We from the Bronx, New York, shit happens. Kids clapping, love to spark the place. Half the niggas in the squad got a scar on their face. It's a cold world and this is ice. $500,000 for the charm, nigga, this is life. Got the Phantom in front of the building, Trinity, yeah. 10 years been legit, they still figure me out.
Damn, baby, on my knees a little bit of this, a little bit of that. Get it crackin' in the club when you hear the shit. Drop it like it's hot, get the work in that back. Girl, shake that thing, yeah, work that thing. Let me see it go up and down. Rotate that thing, I wanna touch that thing when you make it go round.
We got some more, I think we got some more.
In the club, I'm like, who you with? See unit in the house, yeah, that's my clique. Yeah, I'm young, but a nigga from the old school. On the dance floor, a nigga doing old moves. I don't
Coast DJ.
Gotta get shorty, tell her what the young boy gon' do. Gotta be a kid, stay pretty thick with a kick that's sick, that need to be hit. So tell me what y'all gon' do.
Certain
certified quality. And that the girl them need and I cry for every day without apology. But them the right way, that's my policy. Shonda Paul alongside Beyonce. Now you man say this a dirty yeah, dirty yeah, dirty yeah, dirty yeah. Beyonce, sing it now yeah.
Static, make it rain on the Snickers. Yeah, I'm in this bitch with terror. Got a head full of stacks, better grab an umbrella. I make it right. I'm in this bitch with terror.
We don't have time to get into anymore. We'll be here for like 100 hours playing your records. So last thing, we'll go ahead and wrap it up. What I do want to do is just, you know, for us being out there, right? Independent artists, producers, DJs, whatever it is, over there looking up here, right? You made it. You made it twice. You know, just words of advice in general, right? We're looking at you, looking back at us. What advice do you have for the artists, the producers, and just everybody in here trying to make it in music?
I mean, you gotta just, like I said, man, you gotta do the work of 10 people. There's so many people out there right now competing for that spot. You gotta be extra. If you want to be extra, you'll be extra hard work. Absolutely. And don't listen to what people say sometimes. Like, you know, when horses are racing, they put blinders on them. They put the blinders on them so they can't see all this. You know what I mean? Just focus on your path. You know what I mean? That gut. Go with your gut.
Absolutely.
Me and my boy Diego said the other day, go with your gut.
Real quick, because I know this is going to happen. Steve, can you stand up real quick? Because I know after this, everybody's going to ask, you know, how can I work with Scott? What can I do? There's the man right there you could talk to if you are serious about needing to do something. But I just want to thank you, Scott. We appreciate having
pleasure,
you.
Man.
And give it up. Make some noise for Scott Storch. All right, so we are now going to get into the World Championship. So if you're competing in the World Championship, stick around. If you're not, take a little break, come back. We're going to start the World Championship in a couple minutes. We're going to start in, what time is it right now? Hold on. Oh, so we have, my bad. We have a 25-minute break, guys. 25 minutes, we're going to start the World Championship, okay? So if you're performing, make sure you're back here.
You tell me
in the next couple minutes.
Make a slick comment and see what that brings. I seen it go down, we can reenact things. Extreme like DMXing. These boys pussy and they PMSing. People in the city see the movement occurring and say, my God, I wanna be in that scene. Damn right you wanna be in this scene. She had the video trying to be in this scene. Used to fantasize about being this scene. Bluegrass girl, but she got big dreams. Can't touch me, I got instincts. Locked in the house, but I'm plotting things. I brought a gang to the party with me. 5 white boys, but they not in sync. Fuck what y'all think, fuck everything that you say about me. My dogs like to play Madden and 2K, but one thing they don't do is play about me. My homeboy Tyler, he playing South Beach. He told me this summer he gon' fix my jumper. I told boy Wonder that we might got a thumper. I've been